Good day everyone, this is Thomas of the Exponential Real Estate Group, and today I would like to make the case for Metro Vancouver. Throughout the last 20 years, I've been asked by many whether it was the right time to buy a home. A few also asked me whether it was the right time to sell their home. They all cited a looming worry that Vancouver real estate is due for a collapse. Price is too high, it cannot go up forever, demand will dry up, the government will step in, baby boomers will sell their homes by the thousands to retire, developers keep building new condos, surely there'll be a glut. Young people are leaving, this city has no future. And I have always advised the same thing, that if you plan to stay in Vancouver for the long term, there is no wrong time to buy. If you would like to sell Vancouver, there are many valid reasons to sell. You may want to upsize, you may want to downsize, you may want to change your lifestyle. However, if you want to sell Vancouver as a dramatic investment maneuver, hoping to get back in at a later date at a lower price, I highly advise against that, because the chance is very low that you will be selling at a local maxima. In fact, in the last 20 years or so, there was really only two opportunities for you to do so, and each time the window was very short before the market established a new baseline and go much higher. So I would go into the many reasons why this region is special, but in general those regions can be grouped into two themes. I may have to do two different videos. The first theme is demand. This region of Metro Vancouver is very desirable place to live in. The second is supply. This region is geographically bounded, it will never grow any bigger, and yet it is subjected to an inexorable force of densification. The city really wants to densify in order to meet the demand. However, it doesn't densify fast enough. Housing supply is not being added fast enough. Before I can analyze Metro Vancouver, first I would like to define it. Metro Vancouver is an urban region in the province of British Columbia, Canada. So by geographical definition, to the west we have the sea, to the north we have Rocky Mountains. To the east, beyond Langley and Mission, we have vast, open, undeveloped land. So you have to drive for hours and hours before you get from one town to the next. To the south, you have the US border. So the actual urban region of Metro Vancouver is even smaller, as it is bounded by a very limited network of frequent and fast public transportation. There's also a train line, the West Coast Express, that runs all the way out to Mission. However, it only runs twice a day. By definition, the region is often defined as the area that is covered by SkyTrain and subway, and that would include Vancouver City, West Van, North Van, Richmond, Burnaby, Surrey, Poco, Coquitlam, and White Rock. And this altogether add up to about 800 kilometers square. So I would like to make a parallel right now to other cities in the world that have very similar conditions to Metro Vancouver that are also geographically bounded. So those are places like Singapore, New York City, and Hong Kong. So each of those is also about 700 to 1,000 kilometers square. And as you will see that the real estate market there have a lot of parallel to the real estate market in Metro Vancouver. The first reason I would like to go into is the geographical advantage. It is a very commonly known fact that if you are a tourist in Metro Vancouver, you can go to ski in the mountains in the morning and then go on a boat cruise to an island resort on the same day. However, it is a lot less commonly known, for example, that this region is home to some of the cleanest drinking water in the world. The water here comes from 3 gigantic natural reservoirs on high altitude that supply naturally soft water. The water tastes great and it also doesn't clog the pipe. Also because of that, the water here requires very little chlorine to be added, and so it doesn't just taste great, it's also very good for you. Another fact, for example, is if you look on the map of the American continental west coast, then you would see that Metro Vancouver is the only spot in America that is naturally protected from storms and tsunami. And the reason for that is because to the west on the sea, we also have a natural shield, which is the Vancouver Island. And the climate in Metro Vancouver is very pleasant. It has one of the nicest climates in Canada. However, this region is also buffered from climate change by the effect of the natural shield to the west, and also because the region is in the temperate zone and has a lot of river system running through it. So the climate here has always been great, and likely it will stay great into the foreseeable future. A second advantage to Metro Vancouver is transportation. Vancouver is a port city. It's very similar to Singapore, Hong Kong, and New York City. The Port of Vancouver is the largest port in Canada, and it is also the gateway from Canada to Asia through the Pacific Ocean. In terms of air transportation, YVR Vancouver International Airport is pretty well known for winning a lot of design awards. But what is a lot lesser known is that this tiny region, it's only about 800 kilometers square, actually has a second international airport at the other end in Abbotsford. And that airport also have the runway length to service international flight, including big airplanes like the Boeing 747. Geography, nice weather, and transportation are fundamental to the success of a region. But I believe that what makes a place truly desirable to live in is its people. And in this regard, Metro Vancouver also enjoy a particular demographic and cultural advantage. The one thing that always surprised me as someone who lived here for a long time is that I can wake up in the morning and decide to fill my grocery bag with an international list of ingredients from just about every cuisine in the world from around 30-minute drive around my home. Similarly with dining out, say it's the evening time and you have a friend, you would like to take your friend out to somewhere interesting. Well, in Metro Vancouver, you have a choice of eating out with it in a different cuisine every single day. Metro Vancouver is also home to one of the largest Asian community outside of Asia itself. So about 43% of Vancouver residents have some Asian heritage. Around the globe, only a few other places that approach this ratio. For example, Metro Toronto has about 35% and San Francisco at about 33%. Canada in general, and British Columbia in particular, is also well known for political stability. Here, there's a very low likelihood of social unrest, terrorism, ethnic or religious tension. Canada ranks 16 out of 194 countries in this regard, but let's look at the nations that are above Canada with comparable living standards. Well, of those 16, 12 of those are small municipalities with special political status, like Liechtenstein, Luxembourg, and so on. Only a few other developed nations that are higher than Canada in this regard, places such as Switzerland and Singapore, and these nations tend to have real estate prices that are comparable to or much higher than Canada or even Metro Vancouver. Far below Canada in political stability are some very big and wealthy economies, such as the USA in 99th place, China in 114th place, and even, for example, South Korea would be at 66th place. Metro Vancouver is also known for having one of the lowest crime rate compared to other major cities in the world. So because of that, Canada in general and Metro Vancouver in particular becomes a kind of wealth funnel. All the people who are very successful in those much bigger, much wealthier economies eventually would like to gravitate towards a safe haven that is also very desirable to live in. The demand for Metro Vancouver also comes from within. This region has always been known for a very thriving tourism and film industry. But during the last decade, especially the last few years, the technology sector here is also growing very rapidly too. Metro Vancouver has an ample talent pool for the tech industry, graduating from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver City, as well as Simon Fraser University and BC Institute of Technology in Burnaby. Historically, tech salary here has always been much lower than in the US. Say, if you drive down a few hours to Kirtland or Redmond in Washington State, and tech salary would suddenly double. However, Vancouver tech workers' salary is slowly approaching parity with those in the US due to many big tech companies moving their operations north from Silicon Valley to Washington State, and Vancouver is just very close by. Also, tech companies are more open to mostly or fully remote work. For example, in a recent report in 2020, the average senior engineer salary increased 8% in 2020 to about 110,000-120,000 Canadian dollar per year. But Thomas, that is 2020 stats. What happened to COVID? Well, it turns out that COVID may have had a stimulus effect on Vancouver tech scene. If you look at recent job postings, you would see that the range have actually shifted up. So 110 to 120 is now the range for an intermediate level, whereas a senior level, the range would be, for example, 130 to 160 or maybe even higher. So in this video, I have gone over some of the demand side reasons supporting Metro Vancouver real estate. But what about the supply side? Please look forward to our second video in the coming weeks. Meanwhile, please subscribe, like, and share. Again, this is Thomas Dang from the Exponential Real Estate Group. Bye for now.